Death on the Nile, Chapter 13, Part 2. "See, my race declared, as if she were blindly as mad and jealous as she sounds, she might want to, well, sign her name to a crime, so to speak." Perrault shook his head. No, I do not think she would be as crude as that. Then there's only one reason for that J. It was put there by someone else deliberately to throw suspicion on her. Bessner nodded. Yes, and that criminal was unlucky because, you see, it is not unlikely that young Frohlin did the murder. It is also, I think, impossible. How's that? Bessner explained that Jacqueline's hysterics and the circumstances which led Mrs. Bowers to take charge of her. And I am sure that Miss Bowers stayed with her all night. Ray said, "If that's so, it is going to simplify matters very much." "Who discovered the crime?" Perrault asked. "Miss Doyle's maid, Louise Burgess. He went to call her mistress as usual, found her dead, and came out and flopped into the steward's farms in a dead faint. He went to Manager, who came to me. I got hold of Bessner and then came for you." Perrault nodded. Ray said, "Doyle's got to know." "You say he's asleep still?" Bessner nodded. "Yes. He's still asleep in my cabin. I've given him a sterile opiate last night." Race turned to Perrault. "Well," he said, "I don't think we need detain the doctor any longer, Thank you, doctor." Bessner rose. "I will have my breakfast, yes, and then I will go back to my cabin to see if Mr. Doyle is ready to wait." "Thanks." Bessner went out. The two men looked at each other. "Well, what about it, Perrault?" Race asked. "You're the man in charge. I'll take my orders from you. You say what's to be done." Perrault bowed. Be in, he said. "We must hold the court of inquiry. First of all, I think we must verify the story of the affair last night. That is to say, we must question Perrault and Miss Robson, who were the actual witness of what occurred. The disappearance of a pistol is very significant." Race rang a bell and sent a message by the steward. Perrault sighed and shook his head. "It is bad, this," he murmured. "It is bad." "Have you any ideas?" asked Race curiously. "My ideas conflict. They're not well arranged. They're not orderly. There is, you see, the big fat dead girl hated Lynette Doyle and wanted to kill her. You think she's capable of it?" "I think so, yes." Perrault sounded doubtful. "But not in this way. That's what's worrying you, isn't it? Not to creep into her cabin at dark and shoot her while she was sleeping. It's the cold-bloodedness that strikes you as not ringing true." "In a sense, yes. You think that this girl, Jacqueline de Belfront, is incapable of premeditated, cold-blooded murder?" Perrault said slowly. "I am not sure, you see. She would have the brains, yes, but I doubt if physically she could bring herself to the act." Race nodded. "Yes, I see. Well, according to Bessner's story, it would also have been physically impossible. If that is true, it clears the ground considerably. Let us hope it is true." Perrault paused, then added simply, "I shall be glad if it is so far, for I have that little month's sympathy." The door opened and Thorpe and Cornella came in. Bessner followed them. Cornella gasped out, "Is it just awful? Poor Miss Doyle. And she was so lovely, too. It must be a real fiend who could hurt her. And poor Mr. Doyle. He'll go half crazy when he knows. Why, even last night he was so frightfully worried she should hear about his accident." "This is just what you want to tell us about, Miss Robinson?" said Race. We want to know exactly what happened last night." Cornell began a little confusedly, but a question or two from Perrault helped matter. "Ah, yes, I understand. After the bridge, Madame Doyle went to her cabin." "Did she really go to her cabin, I wonder?" "She did," said Race. "I actually saw her. She said good night to her. I said good night to her at the door." "And the time?" "Mercy, I couldn't say," replied Cornell. "It was 11:12, said Race. "Bien." Then at 11:12, Madame Doyle was alive and well. At that moment there was in the saloon who? Vanrupt answered. Doyle was there, and Miss de Belfront, myself, and Miss Robinson. "That's so," agreed Cornella. Mr. Pennington had a drink and then went off to bed. "That was how much later?" "Oh, about 3 or 4 minutes. Before 11:30, then." "Oh, yes. So that there was there were left this saloon. You, Mademoiselle Robinson, Mademoiselle de Belfort, Monsieur Doyle, and Monsieur Fendrel. What were you all doing? Mr. Fendrel was reading a book. I got some embroidery. Miss de Belfort was. Thrope came to the rescue. She was drinking pretty heavily. Yes, agreed Corell. He was talking to me mostly, and asking me about things at home, as he kept saying things to me mostly, but I think they were kind of meant for Mr. Doyle. He was kind of getting mad at her, but he didn't say anything. I think he thought if he kept quiet, he might simmer down, but he didn't. Cornell shook her head. I tried to go once or twice, but he made me stay. I was getting very, very uncomfortable, and then Mr. Frey got up and, well, it was a little embarrassing, said Thrope. I thought I'd make it an unobtrusive exit. Miss Del Belfront was clearly working up for a scene, and then she just pulled out the pistol, went Cornell, and Mr. Doyle jumped out, tried to get away from her, and it went off and shot him through the leg, and then she began to sob and cry. I was scared to death and ran out after Mr. Thrope came back with me, and Mr. Doyle said not to make a fuss, and one of the servants heard the noise of the shot and came along. But Mr. Thrope told him it was all right, and we got Jacqueline away to her cabin, and Mr. Thrope stayed with her while I got Miss Bowers. Cornell paused breathless. What time was this? Asked Ray. Cornell said again, Mercy, I don't know, but Thrope answered crying. It must have been 20 minutes past 12. I know that was actually 12:30 when I finally got to my cabin. Now let me be quite clear on 1 or 2 points, said Perot. After Madame Doyle left the saloon, did any of you four leave it? No. You're quite certain Mademoiselle de Belfront did not leave the saloon at all. Perot put him promptly. Positive. Neither Doyle, Miss de Belfront, Miss Robson, nor myself left the saloon. Good, that satisfies the fact Mademoiselle de Belfort could not possibly shot Madame Doyle before, let's say, 12:12. Now, Mademoiselle Robinson, you went to fetch Mademoiselle Bowers. Was Mademoiselle de Belfort alone near her cabin during that period? No, Mr. Thrope stayed with her. Good, so far Mademoiselle de Belfort has a perfect alibi. Mademoiselle Bowers is the next person to interview, but before I send for her, I should like to have your opinion on 1 or 2 points. Monsieur Doyle, you say, was very anxious that Mademoiselle de Belfort should not be left alone. Was he afraid? Do you think that he was contemplating some further rash act? That is my opinion, said Thorough. He was definitely afraid she might attack Madame Doyle. No, Thrope took his out. I don't think that was his idea at all. I think he was afraid she might do something rash to herself. Suicide? Yes, you see. She seemed completely sobered and heartbroken at what she has done. She was pretty self-reproached. She kept saying she would be better dead. Cornell said timely, I think he was rather upset about her. He spoke quite nicely. He said it was all his fault, that he treated her badly. He was really nice.